Hello and welcome to the big picture. It's 6 months to the day when the country witnessed an unprecedented political change. For the first time, a non-Congress party, which had swept into power with a majority on its own, formed the government. The new Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was sworn in, came into office riding a huge wave of support as well as expectations. In these 6 months, many changes, some fundamental, have been promised and also set into motion. Many positive developments have taken place, even as the government has faced criticism and has been found wanting in some other areas. Today we will look at the last 6 months and the performance of the government and its hits and misses. To discuss this, I have with me Dr. C.P. Thakur, BJP MP in the Rajya Sabha, Shashi Tharoor, Congress MP in the Lok Sabha, Mohammed Salim, CPI-M MP in the Lok Sabha, Pawan K. Verma, JDU MP in the Rajya Sabha, and Memom, NCP MP in the Rajya Sabha. Welcome to all of you. Dr. Thakur, so it is 6 months today.
Yes.
When you look back at these 6 months, you think that your government has been able to, can you point out 3-4 achievements which you think of your government which is very significant and will have a long-lasting effect?
Government has achieved many things in many fields, but I will start with one. Say one thing, that all the foreign countries and foreign policy of the government and the decision-making process of this government, they now think that India is a very nice place for investment. So that is a big thing. One. Secondly, during last 6 months, the policy with the neighbors has been extremely good. And Mr. Modi has made friends with neighbors as well as the other countries. So that is the big achievement. Then, internal front, the today news that extremists, they have started surrendering. So they are also changing. And say, so far, the implementation of different projects are concerned. So after this budget, I think the work will start very fast.
So, Shashi, in fact, 2 of the 3 things which you mentioned is about foreign policy, your domain virtually. So how do you react to that?
Just that.
The investment climate has improved. That's what he says. And then he says that the neighbors, Mr. Modi has made friends with the neighbors, and there is an improved relation with the neighbors.
Well, I think I just first of all want to say that we've certainly heard some very fine speeches in the last 6 months, but honestly we are very devoid of any concrete achievements to point to. My dear friend Dr. Thakur says that investment, India is considered a better country for investment. Well, where is the evidence for that? Where is the evidence of investment coming in? We have, for example,
the FIIs have gone up.
The Chinese president comes here. There's a lot of tom-tomming about $100 billion about to be given to us, and he leaves having given 20, and with his soldiers having crossed into our borders. You have the Japanese giving us an announcement, but at the same time, the money has yet to actually emerge, and meanwhile, Japan's economy has taken a turn for the worse. I'm not denying that we're seeing a lot of good atmospherics, but it is yet to translate into concrete achievements. I wrote a piece saying that Mr. Modi got a little more than came cho in Washington. Meaning what? That again, the atmospherics are nice. He gets a handshake. Now Mr. Obama is going to come for Republic Day. But in terms of actual concrete deliverables from our relationship with the US, we are yet to see any progress. As for the neighbors, certainly the SAARC invitation for the swearing in was an amazingly unprecedented gesture, and I'm sure it's gone over very well. But we've seen some very peculiar ups and downs in the Pakistan policy, ranging from attacks saying that no chicken biryani diplomacy, moving to sari and shawl exchanges, moving to abrupt cancellation of foreign secretary talks, moving to heavy shelling on the border, moving to now snubbing of the Pakistani leader in Kathmandu, all of which may be justified. But this up and down does not necessarily augur well for a coherent, clear, consistent messaging. So for all of these reasons, I am not prepared to celebrate the accomplishments that Mr. Thakur talks about right now. I want to see concrete evidence of benefits to India, and I've yet to see any of those.
Concrete benefits, I mean, can you expect it in 6 months? Somehow,
Well, you're the one asking the question. I'm prepared to wait for 1 year.
It is not possible.
I'm prepared to wait for longer, but you're asking what's happened in 6 months?
Yeah.
So far, these things have not happened.
So far, the inconsistency in foreign policy, which at least in some of the areas which you're mentioning, fine. Salim, you know, he's also talking about having, you know, control the extremists in areas. Is that something which is on the ground? Because see, what we are seeing is that elections in both Jammu and Kashmir and Jharkhand, which is going on right now, we have seen fantastic turnouts there. In both places, there have been calls for boycott by the extremists, whether it is Naxals in Jharkhand or the separatists in Kashmir. So that can be seen as some kind of an achievement.
No, of course, the participation is there, but we have seen over the years. During last election also, we have seen how the people of Jammu and Kashmir has defied the dictates of the extremists. And even in Jharkhand or in other parts also, the Maoists are losing its scene. So, of course, this government is continuing with the same old policies, not any policy intervention from the Modi's government. Mr. C.P. Thakur himself also said that 6 months is too early to assess. But I think for the 5 years government, 6 months, quite a lot of time. And now we should see that what they have promised that within 100 days, within 3 months, within 6 months they deliver, and what they have achieved or failed. Now BJP himself in their speeches and rhetorics have made that so many achievements have been made. But if you see if the agrarian front, if you see in the economic front, if you see in the industrial scenario, besides perception, of course, because there is a lot of rhetorics and of course image building exercise and publication exercise also going on there. So Mr. Thakur was right that after completing the course in the country, now abroad also, Mr. Modi is busy and his team is also busy in creating a perception. But the perception alone is not going to help you. If you go back, you see the agriculturists are not getting the price. The BJP promised that the issue price will be, minimum support price will be 50% above the cost of the inputs. Now, where is that announcement gone? After 6 months, the same paddy growers or wheat growers, they are depending on the state governments, if some state governments are giving some bonus, but they promised in their manifesto that 50% over and above the cost. It's nowhere there.
Dr.
Secondly, in the employment scenario also, if you see.
I'll come to that. No, actually, certainly, as he has said, and he is also mentioning that, it will take some time to put into action all the promises which the government has made in the past or in the during last 6 months. It will take some time.
But Thakur Sahib, in some cases, the government itself has given a deadline. They said they'll bring back black money in 100 days. Up to it's 180 days. Where is the black money?
No, black money.
15 lakhs in each of our bank accounts.
They have started all procedures for getting the black money
they
back.
They promised 100 days.
Whether the money is there or not.
All the options to bring back the black money?
Black money, yeah.
You have exhausted all the options available to us.
They have given,
apart from creating SIT, and that was compared by the Supreme Court ultimatum, because Supreme Court gave the ultimatum on 23rd May.
Supreme Court, they have given the names and everything. So now, whether the black money is there or not, so it will depend upon
you've told the nation money is there or not. That's a little tricky. What you're saying you are not sure whether it's there now. Anyway, let me get Pawan Verma on this. Pawan, again, Pawan, can you hear me?
I can hear you if you can hear me. I've been waiting.
Okay, I've come to you. Pawan, if you have heard Dr. Thakur's, claims that the achievements in these last 6 months, but as far as the foreign, it's very evident that in the last 6 months, the Prime Minister has been traveling into many parts of the world and meeting a lot of leaders, and that is one of the major things which is being touted as an achievement. Would you agree with that?
Girish, I have great respect for Mr. Thakur. The gulf between promise and delivery is, for instance, most flamboyantly visible in his promise on black money, where he even made a public statement from a public platform that 15 lakhs would come to the pocket of every citizen. Perhaps, Girish, you have received it, I have not, and so have most of the other citizens that we know.
I wish I had.
On the economic front, there has been an abundance of eloquence and a visible shortage of policy initiatives and vision. Unemployment has not gone down. Industrial production has gone down. Agriculture is languishing. We seem to be back to the old Shining India syndrome type of economic development. Large swathes of the country, which are the least developed states, have no policy initiatives for them. We have certainly some increase in stock market, etc., but these are transient phenomena. We are looking at the foundational problems of the country. In education, there has been a complete flip-flop of policy continuously. We are very concerned that this is being accompanied by a systematic plan of saffronization, of an increase in communal disturbances, which is the subtext of what is happening. And we are also concerned about the style of functioning of this government, where there is such a amazing degree of centralization that this is the only government where every minister seems to look unhappy. And lastly, as far as foreign policy is concerned, I must say that while there has been a great deal of breathless summitry going on, of which India would be a part anyway, there is very little to show in terms of concrete dividends except for the cheer and support in Brisbane in the NRI community and at Brisbane at the Madison Garden. And especially with our neighbors, you seem to cite it. I want to say to you that with China, the lack of preparation and anticipation, there are one of the largest incursions into Indian territory when the Chinese president visits.
Okay.
So I am saying yes, 10 out of 10 on eloquence and 3 out of 10 on delivery.
Okay. Mr. Majid Memon. Mr. Majid Memon, your party has had a very interesting role as far in the Maharashtra elections. But coming to politics, in the last 6 months, if you see the way the BJP has been winning state after state, you come from Maharashtra, you're in your own state. So, wouldn't you see this as an achievement, and wouldn't you see this performance of the BJP from in state to state after the elections there? So don't you think that there is something which this government or the new Prime Minister has been able to provide, which will have to be accepted and acknowledged?
Now see, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, we have made it clear several times in the past few weeks, that we were constrained to extend external support to Bharatiya Janata Party for 2 reasons. Fundamentally, we want that Maharashtra must have a stable government. And number 2 is that we wanted to honor the mandate of the people of Maharashtra, who have given a clear mandate of a single largest party, Bharatiya Janata Party, to emerge. So we don't mind extending support, and we have already made it clear that we are not joining them on their ideologies or on their policies, or on the contrary, from external support we mean that we will serve as a watchdog to ensure that the government, Maharashtra government, works in the interest of the people. So at the
national level, what is the
forget Maharashtra. Let us talk about center, because which is the subject now.
Right.
100 days. Now I have heard my friends also here, Mr. Thakur also be here. Well, Prime Minister's performance or his government's performance, if it is observed very, very minutely, you would find that the Prime Minister has chosen to spend a lot of time outside India, probably to build his own personal image as an international leader. Well, we have nothing to say on that. But what about priorities? What about promises? As rightly said by our Verma ji just now, that you see, there were promises galore. And what is important is that once you have assumed power, least that is expected from you is that you would draw a list of priorities. What are your priorities? Your first priority should have been now, today itself, whilst we are discussing here, we've had a very hot debate on the issue of black money. Right. Now see, about black money, I would only say a few things, because we discussed in the House also, that what has the government done? Although the promises were so very clear that, well, within 100 days, every poor man will have 15 lakh rupees in his account and the whole money will be brought in, which is a misleading statement. Now, what has the government actually done? The government, in fact, has hardly done anything, and whatever little work has been done in that context has been due to the pressure and pushing of the Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
The Supreme Court has passed order. One more thing, just give me a minute more.
Right.
Now, what are the promises? You know why the Prime Minister was seen hopping from place to place prior to Lok Sabha elections and telling them that we will bring prices down, we will provide employment, we will bring black money and all whatnot. And at the same time, he was also saying we will have Congress Mukt Bharat. Now, let me convey from this your platform here that Indian people, 120 odd crore people, are not interested in your slogan of Congress Mukt Bharat. We are not interested in Congress. We are interested in Berozgari Mukt Bharat. We are interested in महंगाई Mukt Bharat. We are interested in Bhrashtachar Mukt Bharat. We are interested in Bimari Mukt Bharat. You work on those, of course.
Okay.
You have done nothing.
I think you have made a very eloquent statement there. Dr. Thakur, you know, these are the priorities. There is a problem there that there is a lot of sloganeering going on. There is a lot of, you know, image building going on, but actual work on the ground is not happening. All this, whether it's Swachh India campaign or Make in India campaign and things like that, these are all good, you know, slogans.
Very good.
Bharat into India, India into Bharat. I think there is a confusion there as far as...
No, actually, Gandhi has made the point that there are two Indias and we need to connect
but that's okay. But
that's a different matter. But the whole point about democracy is responding to the needs of the people. Every one of us MPs who's elected in the Lok Sabha represents a majority of an electorate that is poor. Let's be very honest, that lives on less than $2 a day by the World Bank standards. That's the kind of reality we're facing. And so those very basic needs, Salim Saab and Pawan have both mentioned agriculture. This is fundamental. But it's not only agriculture. I mean, there are fundamental issues.
No, you don't see action being taken on this front?
No, we have seen not only not action being taken, but as indeed the initial budget of Mr. Jaitley in July suggests a derisory level of allocations. There have been a number of, again, fancy names and titles given with 100 crore allocations, so many lists of 100 crore allocations that it sounds like a Bollywood box office collection list, you know.
Institutional
we just don't have
neglect.
We don't actually have a substantial allocation, nor are the connections allocated. You can't just give 100 crore, I beg your pardon, for women's safety without tying it into a comprehensive look at the entire law and order situation as well as the conditions in which women are vulnerable. All of this is not just a sort of one-off kind of thing, some sort of pilot project. While in the same time,
1,000 crores for irrigation only.
Yeah, and then announcing these grandiose schemes like bullet trains, which frankly in our country we are still not able to run a normal train system without accidents. I mean, there's no proportion between the amounts involved and the actual needs of the masses.
Most respectfully, I'll ask Mr. Thakur a question which it is very difficult for any reasonable person to appreciate the situation. Namely, that we are talking of, you know, as Verma ji also rightly says that allocation is misdirected or we would have had more preferences elsewhere. You know, huge money is expected to come by virtue of our effort to get the black money in. All the problems of poverty would be solved. Now, this is what has been promised for winning the election. Now, I am asking one respectful question to our friend Thakurji, that please tell us, people of this country are not able to understand. Your endeavor to get all that black money has made you act although on the pushing of the highest court of the land, but you gave a list of people out of which 289 accounts are with zero balance. What is your endeavor to get money? You want to those 289 zero balance money to come in? I don't understand.
No.
What is the logic?
Anyway, sir,
you should appreciate the process. You cannot get the money back from, say, bank in Switzerland immediately. The policy he has been expert there.
The policy has been formulated.
There is a process for that. It cannot be done in one day.
No, Girish,
exactly. It cannot be done in one day.
Pawan, yes, your question is valid and this question has been asked.
I asked this question to Thakur Saab.
Yes. But yes, Pawan, this question will be continuously asked.
Now you are appreciative of the constraints and the time that will be required. Yes. I ask you, why was your Prime Minister designate not aware of it when he made such lavish, extravagant and concrete promises which he cannot fulfill?
Okay. Must be visionary. Now he's stuck.
Salim,
now my question is...
Salim, let us get away from black money. There's enough discussion. Today, both houses have been discussing. There are other things. As far as the social situation is concerned, as far as the labor situation which we are talking about, these are the areas where fundamental reforms, especially in the economic reforms, social reforms, labor reforms, they're talking about.
Now, what I wanted to bring it back on the track is not only the reform will come, But see, what government is promising, or still now in the rhetorics they are expressing, which they can be achieved in 2050s, 2022, 2040s. But the government is elected for 5 years. People want that, okay, 6 months, another 1 year, another 6 months, what's going to happen? The government which could not do, say, taking action in appointing heads of various institutions.
Absolutely.
The government can do it. You don't require a very elaborate process. Nationalized banks, public sector units, scientific research institutes,
Central Information
production
Commission.
units, they don't have heads.
Central
headless.
Information
Why
Commission.
government is not? Information Commissioner. Now again, talking about labor reforms.
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission, now this is the style
is the
of function.
fundamental changes,
Style
one
of
of the
function.
fundamental
No,
changes.
this for social changes to bring
Typical case.
so Planning Commission can be very
Act before
important.
thinking.
Okay, government can think of another alternative. They have the privilege. But without thinking of alternative, from the rooftop on 15th August, from Red Fort, Prime Minister announced that demolition of Planning Commission. Then we find out some people, some session, yeah. So why you are putting the cart before the horse? You should have thought
This is the problem.
The
The appointments to the commission.
But certainly,
some fundamental changes which you want to bring about, as Pawan says, you have done.
Sir,
You act before you
National
think.
Disaster Management Authority disbanded.
Right.
So demolition squad.
Yeah, no.
No substitute.
Formation.
In India, again, it is a process. You adopt certain process so that you should not. You are liable to be criticized. Say, today we have passed that the one representation from the largest party in, say, there for appointment of this CBI and other things.
Right.
So it will take, this is a democratic country. It is not you can pass some order today and it will be implemented tomorrow.
No, but the criticism is that, it's a democratic country. We all know the problem was that the people were told that certain things will be done in a certain time period. That doesn't seem to have happened.
Things will be done. It is in the process.
Mr. Memom, as far as legal issues are concerned, you are a lawyer. There are several issues which the government needs to take up as far as laws and legislations are concerned. Do you see a clarity in that?
Well, you see, we are hoping that we together would be in a position to bring the desired legal, reforms.
One of the legal reform, one of it is a judicial appointment.
And on judicial appointment, etc. Well, fortunately, the law minister, when this judicial accounts and the reforms of judiciary was being discussed in the House, the law minister was Ravi Shankarji, who happens to be a colleague of ours at the bar. And therefore he appreciates, and then we could come to some kind of an understanding whereby we can do a bit on that. But then merely, improving judicial system would not by itself help us unless the investigating agency, now what has happened to CBI now? We all are seeing it. And then unfortunately, the disastrous consequence of what Supreme Court has been ordering in the past few months, we have been seeing. The manner in which the important issues like coal block or 2G scam or black money cases which are coming up before Supreme Court, the government is showing a very lukewarm response in all the important issues. It doesn't appear to the common man that, well, the government means business on all this. They were talking to curb corruption, but they are hardly doing anything to work on that. As far as the appointments are concerned, we are sorry to find that appointments on important postings are probably, the qualification would be that do you have an RSS background or not? Which would be very sad.
Not.
Well, these things
no
must not
question of
happen.
RSS here. No, not at all.
Dr. Thakur, as far as the education is concerned, we see that this is happening there. The RSS is openly talking. They are saying that we would like to influence the education policy of this country.
Let them talk.
Are you denying it?
They have a right to talk. Everybody has got a right to talk. We are talking, he is talking.
But are you saying that
you are talking? So everybody has a right to talk in India.
Yes.
And then the government will take a certain position, a certain policy they formulate. After all these talks, they gather from him, everybody, and then this will be done.
Shashi, Tharoor, as far as education is concerned, you have handled that ministry. And
we are seeing a lot of appointments in education which are disappointments. I mean, certainly the new head of the Center for Historical Research has very, very modest historical credentials, as has been pointed out by a number of historians. We're not saying that you're not free to appoint somebody who doesn't share a particular point of view. But there are respectable historians who are not Marxists, if that's their objection. They don't want Mr. Mohammed Salim there. Fine, let them not put somebody who has really no qualifications. This question of saffronization.
Only one thing I want to add here, that I am still hinging my hopes on the Prime Minister's promises when he says that sabka saath, sabka vikas.
Absolutely.
And his maiden speech in Parliament, he said that we will not ignore the last man sitting in the corner in the country. So I hope that he would take the entire minority of this country together and give them their
Dr.
legitimate rights.
Very quickly, how many more months or years you will need to show results?
Actually, certainly, after the next budget, the full-fledged budget will come. But certainly, the change will start now.
The change will start now.
Yes.
Okay, sir. I think we are completely run out of time. The change will start now. We'll wait. We have waited for 6 months. We'll wait for some more time. Dr. Thakur says we have to wait till the next budget. But there are, of course, been some certain positives. There are also certain concerns, as all my panelists have expressed. We'll wait and watch how this government will perform in the coming months. Thanks to all my guests, Dr. Shashi, Tharoor, Dr. Thakur, Salim, Majid, Memom and Pawan, Verma. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another edition of Big Picture same time tomorrow.